Hello and welcome to Crossing Bridges. Ladies and gentlemen, today my guest is Bill Bogart, Honorable Mayor from City of Pasadena. I've had the pleasure of having Mayor Bogart appearing on my show since he took office in 1999 after he has presented the State of City. And again, he did an eloquent manner of presenting that a few months ago. In addition to what he presented that night, Mayor Bogart, being a humble individual, will not expand as to what he really has done to expand City of Pasadena to become a household name throughout the world. During his term of office, he has associated himself with fine team, and together they have done much to make our city economically, socially, one of the most prestigious cities, as I indicated, not only in the United States, but throughout the world. He has initiated new innovations, such as expansion of a new art institute, a new center implementing a new innovation of making our city hall more suitable, more safer about renovation, as well as Rose Bowl, Gold Line, its expansion. I can go on and go on. The housing involvement, expansion of housing, bringing new 500 companies to Pasadena who have expanded, hiring new employments, and thus far bringing profit to the city. So I'm going to, at this time, introduce Mayor Bogart, and we can expand further. But I can attest to the fact that not only myself, but many people throughout the city of Pasadena are blessed to have a mayor such as Mayor Bogart. And in my opinion, he's one of the best mayors we have ever had. So without any further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome Honorable Mayor Bogart to the show. Bill, good afternoon, and come to the show.
Matt, what a pleasure it is to be here. And with your kind and generous introduction, I think maybe you should just keep talking.
Believe me, I would love to do that, but for the benefit of the time, I would like to expand about your state of city that you addressed so eloquently a few months ago. And it's important for the people to be updated on a regular basis as to what took place in 2013, what's going on in 2014, and what are the projections for 2015. I always have really admired you because you present the state of city in such an eloquent and way that is very understood, it's kind of digested. And we had a wonderful year last year. And it seems that for the past 15 years that you've been in office, the city has progressed. With the exception of 1 year, our budget was not balanced because that was the year that the United States almost went into bankruptcy and recession. So if you'd be so kind, give us a little bit of the highlights, for example, starting with the budget of 2013 and what's projected for 2014.
Well, Nat, the budget for 2013, which is in effect until June 30 of this year, was a balanced budget, and that was not easy to accomplish in light of the economic climate that we faced. But we ended the prior year with a balance, and the city manager and the council were determined to maintain that balanced situation with a positive budget as long as possible for the new year. We continue as we start the budget process for 2015 to look over our revenues as well as our expenses. And I would say that it continues to be a challenge to manage the city from a fiscal point of view because expenses are high and our revenues are relatively flat. There are certain pressures on us in regard to our water utility, for example. There's been a change in the law in that regard so that our water rates are not permitted to include any amount for a dividend to the general fund. So we have an important subsidiary to the city, if I can refer to it that way, that is not permitted by new law to pay a dividend. And there's also some legal pressure on the city with respect to our utility, our electric utility. And so that's another area where we continue to feel pressure. The city last year had some 67 capital investment projects with a total budget of about $160 million. Now that amount was larger than is typical because we were still making significant investment in the Rose Bowl.
Yes, sir.
But the Rose Bowl project is finished. I think our budget for the upcoming year, CIP, Capital Investment Program, is closer to the range of $80 million.
You should still be congratulated because I know for a fact there are a number of cities in the United States are still suffering from the 5 years ago recession that we had, and they're still in black, basically. So
we have returned to the black. We never had, I would say, material cutbacks in the services that our community members value so dearly. We did dip into some unallocated reserves during the first 2 or 3 years following the recession.
Yes, sir.
And to that extent, we use those extra funds, which are rainy day funds, to smooth out the impact on our budget and on the community during the first couple of years of the recession. But we're now building our unallocated reserve again. We intend to kick in $3 million in the current year ending June 30th, and to kick in another $3 million in the year that's coming up.
Yes, sir. The housing market, of course, at the same time went down tremendously value-wise, and there were overabundant of houses on the market, which of course many of them went into foreclosure. Of course, we have had a rebound since then, and with your vision, Pasadena once again is moving upward, and there's a lot of investment being made in housing in Pasadena.
Once again, it's true. We see permits coming through for building of new homes. We also see permits coming through for doing repairs on existing homes.
Yes, sir.
And we both recognize that one of Pasadena's strengths, we're recognized around the world, or at least around the country, for having wonderful neighborhoods. And some of the neighborhoods are, of course, filled with huge and expensive homes.
Sure.
But other neighborhoods are more ordinary in their price level, but still uniquely comfortable and pleasant because of our so-called urban forest, all the trees that we have, and the commitment that owners have to keep their homes in good condition.
I maintain an up list of homes sold, bought, and the survey has been approximately, takes less than 2 weeks, believe it or not, for a house that has been on the market to be sold. And supply and demand right now even, basically. Right now there's tremendous demand for homes to be purchased.
There's a very strong demand. I've done some homework on that because of constituent interest and concern. And what we're finding is that homes that are placed on the market seem to be in heavy demand.
Very true.
And that there aren't a large number of homes going on the market. People seem to be, to some greater extent than normal, staying steady in terms of where they live.
A number of high-tech businesses moved to Pasadena, many of them from Fortune 500. Are there any anticipation of any additional corporations or companies who are planning to move into Pasadena, Mayor Bogard?
Well, there certainly is, and we're also working hard to support and to incentivize new startup companies so that some of the new business activity that is going to take place in the next couple of years in Pasadena will be, so to speak, of local origin. But we have a property, this is public knowledge, the Avon property on
Yes.
East Walnut
Yes,
in
sir.
East Pasadena. The Avon company has signaled City Hall that they intend to withdraw their operations from Pasadena in about 3 years.
I see.
And we're preparing a plan for the reuse of their building, which will include innovation and science and technology opportunities for small companies. We intend to have that as a central point, not only for providing incubation support to new companies, but to accommodate companies in the science and technology field that are well established or that are now up and running in a commercially viable way, but need to have expanded space for their increasing employees. That's just one example of our strategy in terms of economic development.
Wonderful. Hotel business has been really a very good part of income earning for the city. And I know there are some major hotel chains are planning to hopefully move into Pasadena. Is that correct?
That is true. There happen to be at this time as many as 5 or 6 separate proposals for new hotels. No guarantee that all of those will be constructed, but we know that some are highly likely. For example, the Constance Hotel on Colorado Boulevard and Mentor. That is a so-called adaptive reuse. It's an historic structure.
Yes, sir.
And it is over 80% complete, and they'll be opening their doors for guests in that hotel before too long.
I see.
And then think about the YWCA, the Julia Morgan building outside of the front door of City Hall.
Yes, sir.
We're in the final stages of negotiation with a hotel developer that has 16 or 18 other historic structures around the country. They're very experienced, and we're in negotiations for them to restore and adapt the YWCA for a very pleasant hotel. And there are still other hotels that we could talk about.
Absolutely. Gold Line has been a very success, and now it's been expanding. Can you please, if you'd be so kind, expand a little bit on that?
Well, it's easy for me to do that because I'm so proud of the project. It began operation from Union Station in downtown Los Angeles to Pasadena in July of 2003. And since then, its patronage has been going up, up, up. In addition, construction is underway for the extension, so-called foothill extension of the Gold Line from the east boundary of the city of Pasadena at Sierra Madre Boulevard to the city of Azusa, about 12 and a half miles. That project is more than 50% complete. It's on schedule, going very well, and it's being very comfortably and actively received by the 3 or 4 communities that are involved in that project. And further, once the Azusa line is finished, which we expect to be in the 3rd quarter of 2015, the construction agency will turn its attention to the next stretch of this project, which is from Azusa to Claremont, California.
Wonderful, wonderful. Also, they're within budget right now because I read about it. I've also kept up as to the progress, and it's a wonderful news.
Well, it is true that project is fully funded. We don't have to cut corners, although we're making certain that every penny is well spent.
Yes, sir.
The project is going forward, including a 24-acre maintenance and operation facility near the track in Monrovia, where the trains of the light rail system, the ones that are used for the Gold Line as well as other parts of the system in Los Angeles Basin,
yes, sir,
will be repaired and maintained. So that project is, I just toured it less than a month ago, and it was a pleasure to see because the stations fit into the community so well. It's going to be a very popular transportation device and a source of economic development in social neighborhoods as well.
Mayor Bogart, I can assure you with the cost of gas going up, with the high maintenance of automobile, your projection of Gold Line is going to be going up and up and up, and it's going to be very successful.
Well, I thank you. I think you're on the right track. I agree with you.
Now, Rose Bowl was renovated, is one of the top football, as I want to call it, housing in the United States now. And of course, thank you for bringing the number of top college football teams to Pasadena. Of course, we had the Rose Bowl, we had the BC Championship, and also UCLA is going to be maintained for another 10, 15 years, I understand. Is that correct?
Actually, it's a good 28 years.
28 years.
Because UCLA, as part of our renovation, part of our financing of the renovation, committed itself to a 30-year lease.
Wonderful.
And we're in the very early stages of that.
And they're doing well, football-wise.
Yes, they
They're
are.
successful. So I can assure you, the way the program is being established and upgraded, they're going to draw crowds to a sellout, hopefully, every game they play. Now, again, next year, we are going to have the same championship taking place here. Is that correct?
Well, the same, what we're going to have in the Rose Bowl on January 1 of 2015 is one of the two semifinal games in the college championship. The college championship football game will be played in next year, a week or 10 days later, January 10th till January 15th. The point is that the BCS system that has been in place for about 15 years has been discarded, and a different methodology has been adopted whereby it's closer to the Fabulous Four basketball competition, where a larger number of teams are qualified as being front runners, and then they play and play until there are only two left.
I see. Number of musical events, as I want to call it, rock concert, have been taking place on a very successful basis at Rose Bowl with good revenue for the city. I believe you also have a number of other concerts set for this year.
Well, that's true. One of the interesting developments that occurred in the wake of the Rose Bowl renovation is that it is a venue that is on everyone's screen, and we've had a very large amount of interest on the part of promoters to hold events there. So between now and the end of this calendar year of 2014, there will be a major soccer game. There will be a couple of concerts. There will be other events there that we think will make money for the Rose Bowl, help with the indebtedness that exists to make the improvements at the Rose Bowl, and we think they will also be comfortable and accepted by the neighborhood. For one thing, we're keeping the neighbors fully informed about what our plans are.
Well, they've been very supportive of you. I know that in the past there was some objection regarding noise and so forth, but I'm glad to see citizens working together with you to make sure that our city continues to be progressing and also profitable for the benefit of all of us.
Well, I thank you for that. I would say it would not be fair for me not to express profound gratitude to the neighbors for their accommodation of Rose Bowl activities. When those games occur and the cars are going by in large numbers, it's an imposition.
Absolutely.
And the neighbors of the Linda Vista neighborhood and the East Arroyo neighborhood have been cooperative and supportive of those activities.
The NFL team that we were hopefully luring to be brought into Rose Bowl, it was ups and downs with various differences that took place between neighborhoods, and of course projections and studies were made. But now there's a possibility we might host some NFL teams for a temporary basis. Is that correct?
Well, the last year or two, the strategy involving the NFL was that if they came, it would be in connection with a relocation of a team from another part of the country to a venue in Southern California. Not the Rose Bowl, but the Rose Bowl would be made available under this approach for temporary use, a couple of years, we think 2 or 3 years, while the other stadium is being completed. That generated some controversy in the affected neighborhoods, and we're doing everything we can to create alternative sources of revenue for the Rose Bowl so that we can decide once and for all that both on a permanent basis and on a temporary basis, the Rose Bowl is not available to the NFL, and the reason would be that the impact on the neighbors is too severe.
I know you're very much active and supportive of arts, music, and theater. And how is the Institute of Arts is doing in Pasadena right now?
Well, I would say there are two answers that come to mind. One is Art Center College of Design,
Yes, sir.
which is an internationally recognized institution for learning the skills of design and photography and graphic arts. I would say under the leadership of Lauren Buckman, the new president.
Yes.
He's been in office now something over 2 years. The school is doing very well, morale is very high, and plans are underway for expansion of the school, not in its traditional hillside campus in Linda Vista, but on South Raymond Avenue, where they have acquired some property and are doing some extremely interesting things.
I know it's one of the top institutes throughout the world, believe it or not, because I have a relative that his son is attending that, and I can see he burns the midnight oil almost every night and beyond.
It's an intense course of study that is offered at Art Center.
Yes, sir. Now, how is the Playhouse doing?
The Playhouse is doing very well, and I couldn't be more pleased because it did go through, as you well know,
Yes.
some difficult times 4 years ago. It went through a formal reorganization where all of its debts were tallied up and regularized. And since then, the administration of the Playhouse has been very focused on costs and on programming that would be widely attended. And I can say they've also focused on fundraising, which is incredibly important for any theater company and theater these days. And as a result, the Playhouse is in fact in stable financial condition and looking forward to continuing its wonderful program of dramatic events for the city.
They have had a number of wonderful programs with some top names in the business, which has really tremendously helped Pasadena. And as you recall, Playhouse was one of the premier names throughout Southern California for many, many years. Now, you also have the Medical Center on Del Mar that is doing very well again.
Thank you. That's the Pasadena Urgent Care Facility. It is doing very well. It's proved well before the first 3 years of its operation that it's a needed and supported facility. They're open 6 days a week, long hours, and they provide support to persons who have the right kind of illness, urgent care type illness, both those who are insured and those who are without insurance. So from my point of view, as a mayor that likes to see Pasadena perform as a compassionate and caring city, the urgent care facility is a great operation.
It's been a wonderful source, truly, and thanks again for your innovation and the people on your team to have that place open up.
Well, I should say you've been very gracious about attributing Pasadena's success in recent years to my own work, and I have worked hard, but we couldn't have accomplished anything that has happened without the very talented people at City Hall,
Absolutely.
the other members of the council,
Absolutely.
and frankly in the community. We have wonderful organizations and individuals who are strongly committed to Pasadena's well-being.
No, you're absolutely right, Bill, but you're too modest because you have to have a leader in order for people to follow. And anyone would be fooled not to be able to say yes to Mayor Bogart and to be on your team, sir.
People have been wonderful. When I've tapped them on the shoulder, pursuing one council priority or another, people have been wonderful about their response.
Now, our Rose Bowl, one of the, of course, you don't have to talk about it. It's a premier event of the year. And it's always been a pleasure to see you ride in the automobile for the past 15 years. And last year, of course, we had Vin Scully. Actually, this year we had Vin Scully as a
the Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal. How is it planned for next year, if you may expand briefly?
Well, let me just think. The new president has been named.
Yes, sir.
His name is Rich Chinnen.
Yes, I met him.
And
yes.
of course, he's been active in the tournament for a long period of time. He's announced the new theme for the Rose Parade this year. Do you remember what that is?
No, I heard about it, but I apologize.
Yeah, I apologize too. I'm the resource here at this program, but but the Grand Marshal hasn't been named,
Yes,
so
sir.
that's still the source of a lot of anticipation, and that announcement is usually not made until October.
I see. Okay. Well, regardless, it brings millions of people to Pasadena, and as a result, many of them plan to stay because they leave cities that have 5-6 feet of snow, rain, cold, and I know every time, statistically, they say when they watch Rose Bowl, even if they're not here present, then they pack up and come here. So it's a tremendous benefit.
Well, they certainly develop, particularly with a season, a winter season like that occurred this last year. They end up with a positive feeling about California weather.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I also truly want to compliment you for your support of many of events taking place in City of Pasadena, Bill, because I know you, for example, are supportive of the Nowruz, the Persian New Year every year.
Yes.
You're so gracious by attending the Commission's Peace Through Music, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So before we end, I want to again thank you so much from my heart for being on this show. You have honored me for 15 years, and I hope that we have the pleasure of another 4 years at least. I'm not going to put you on the spot,
Thanks.
but it's truly a blessing, and I meant that sincerely from the beginning of the show, to have a mayor such as you serving Pasadena. So before I end, I want to say thank you, Bill. It's been an honor to have
Thank you very much,
It's
man.
my pleasure.
I've appreciated your respect and your support.
That's my pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot really expand any further, even though I could, but I only have a few seconds to go. It takes all of us working together to make Pasadena what it is today. We have a leader here that is truly gracious, kind, professional, ethical, and he does things for the city from his heart. So let's get on Mayor Bogart's bandwagon, work with him, the city council, city manager, and whatever we can do with the police department to make sure our city is safe, sound, and has a big name as it has throughout the world as a premier city to come and live in. I want to thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us. Have a beautiful day.